Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall have enjoyed the day, savouring the sights of Sydney despite flashes of wild weather. Tonight, Sydney Harbour is the backdrop to their royal engagements, where they'll attend the Diamond Jubilee reception at the Opera House. We're looking at live pictures there from the Opera House forecourt. Our National Affairs correspondent Selena Edmonds has been following the royals. She joins us live now. Good evening to you, Selena.
Good evening to you, Jacinta. Yes, the royal couple are arriving here at the Opera House for this Diamond Jubilee reception. Now, of course, a Diamond Jubilee reception has been held in every place that they have been going. So the royal couple arriving here for this reception this evening. The Governor, Marie Bashir, will be welcoming them, and they'll also have a traditional Indigenous smoking ceremony as part of that welcome. As you can see behind me, there's quite a crowd gathered here to greet them. They've received a tremendous reception here in Sydney. Prince Charles was practically mobbed today down at Bondi Beach when he went there to watch an NRL touch football display. So really, it's no surprise to see the crowds out here. It's a beautiful evening here in the Opera House, and I can tell you they're gathered behind me, they're gathered over the front there, and no doubt they're going to give a big cheer when we see the Prince and the Duchess of Cornwall. It's been a big day. In fact, their day is ending the same way it began, on the Admiral's barge. So they took the Admiral's barge this morning over from Admiralty House to Garden Island, and there they took in a royal salute, afforded a royal salute. They also inspected the Australian Federation Guard, and they met with Australian Defence Force families, personnel who have served overseas, some in Afghanistan, and their families who gathered at the Australian Navy Heritage Centre there. And then the couple went their separate ways today, and we've seen that quite a bit this tour as we've followed them along from state to state. This is the fifth state that they've been to and the fifth state that we followed them to. And the Prince of Wales went to the Museum of Contemporary Art, and he was involved there in that campaign for wool. That's an organisation that he is patron of, and so we saw him at that, rubbing shoulders with fashion designers. We also saw the Duchess of Cornwall go to Victoria Barracks. She's been made Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Australian Military Police. And then we've seen this afternoon also Prince Charles on Bondi Beach. He went to Icebergs for an emergency services reception, and then down to Bondi Beach, where he took in some touch footy. He didn't throw the football around, but like what we saw at the MCG with the cricket ball, but he did rub shoulders with some of the NRL's finest players as well. And really, at one point, it didn't look like that event was going to happen. There was a thunderstorm that came through, drenched everyone, drenched the crowd, but they would not be deterred, and certainly Prince Charles didn't disappoint despite a light fall of rain. He went and greeted the crowd, and really it almost became total mayhem at one point as the crowd surged forward to greet him. He got 3 cheers as he was leaving from Bondi Beach heading to Admiralty House, and that's where they've been this afternoon, and they're coming over here to the Opera House, and then they're going to have this Diamond Jubilee reception. And they're only here for a short time, and then they return to Admiralty House for a dinner that is being hosted by the Governor-General of Australia, Quentin Bryce. And that will wrap up day 6 of this royal tour. Day 7, of course, sees them go to Canberra tomorrow, where they're going to be meeting with the Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, and also at the Australian War Memorial. So we're just watching here, and we're waiting to see the arrival of the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall as they make their way up the steps here, Jacinta, to this second level here at the Opera House, and you can just see the media and the like all rushing up the steps ahead, and as you can imagine, security is very, very tight here.
We can see there New South Wales Governor Marie Bashir walking alongside Prince Charles, having a bit of a chat. And we're looking at these live pictures of Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall walking up the Opera House steps to attend the Diamond Jubilee celebrations at the Opera House tonight.
And the crowd giving them a big wave and a cheer. Lots of Australian flags here, Jacinta, are flying, as well as the Duchess of Cornwall makes her way up there. Prince Charles giving everyone a wave as well as they make their way up the steps here. The royal couple and their considerable entourage heading up there And no doubt there will be some picture opportunities up the top there, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but we can't actually show it to you from our vantage point, but I can still see it. There you have the Premier of New South Wales, Barry O'Farrell, there chatting with the Duchess of Cornwall, and also you can see, as you said, Jacinta Marie Bashir there, who met them as the royal couple stepped off the Admiral's barge. And they're making their way along this line of dignitaries here at the Opera House, and certainly the crowd very excited to see them, and the royal couple have set a cracking pace over this time in Australia. Of course, they came here from Papua New Guinea, and we know from the Prince of Wales that they found that very, very hot. This has certainly been better weather for them, even if they've had to deal with a couple of a thunderstorm and a bit of rain yesterday in Tasmania. It has been very good weather for this royal tour that we've seen here in Sydney, and also, of course, has taken in Longreach. A big cheer going up there for the Prince of Wales as they wave to the crowd. And the crowd very pleased to see the royal couple here, and you'd have to say that they've really made a real effort to get to greet as many people as they can. We saw crowds at the Museum of Contemporary Art today, at Bondi Beach. Every opportunity where the public has been able to turn out, they certainly have, and they've turned out to greet them. And now the royal couple are going inside, and Gurumul Yunupingu will be performing as part of this Diamond Jubilee reception. Very significant that he's performing because, of course, he performed at the Diamond Jubilee concert right in front of Buckingham Palace back in June. So very appropriate that he again is performing here tonight for royalty.
We're getting some pictures there live now of those crowds. In fact, the camera just pulled out from the helicopter. Those crowds aren't as big as we thought. But you're saying that, Selena, you've been with the royal couple on this tour, and there have been quite enthusiastic crowds around the country coming out to greet them. It's not what we expected. We thought that their welcome might be a little lacklustre.
We've had hundreds of people wherever we've gone. I wouldn't say that it was nothing like what we saw for the Queen last year when we covered her royal tour, but we have had hundreds of people turning out in the various locations in order to catch a glimpse of the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. It was interesting to hear her speak today at Victoria Barracks and talk about how she really wished that she had come to Australia sooner. And when we had the opportunity to meet her earlier in the week at a media reception held at Government House in Melbourne, the Duchess of Cornwall commented to us that she didn't really know why she had never been to Australia, that it really didn't make sense to her now, and that she was so enjoying, and that was even on just her second day. Now you can imagine, after taking in Adelaide as well, and Tasmania yesterday, and now Sydney, that she would be truly enjoying the kind of trip that she is now having.